Hello everyone, it's Justine from Stationery by Justine. I know I typically don't show my face on YouTube very much, it's usually just my hands, but I just wanted to intro this video just to kind of preface what's going to be going on and show you some examples of previous card kits that I've made and just kind of do a little chat before the long making video. So sorry about the earbuds. I have to use a microphone to film because my iPad speakers just does not pick up my voice effectively, so don't mind the earbuds. If you clicked on this video, you are either a subscriber and just am curious of what I am up to, or you are interested in knowing my card kit process. So I have two ways of going through card kits. Now, the most experience I have with card kits has been with the Spellbinders card kits. I have subscribed to other card kits from different companies in the past, but my most used company has been Spellbinders just because I'm an affiliate with them and I've always loved their products, and now I am an affiliate with them, so it just kind of works really well. To speak about the first method, the work as you go, when I do the work as you go, I will have part of me going through that process on camera in just a little bit in this video, but basically I have everything on my desk laid out and I just go card by card and see kind of what speaks to me, what kind of jumps out, and just kind of work card by card. And it's not planned at all, just working with what materials jump out at me. The second way that I go through card kits, which is my favorite, is the plan out method. And if you know me, I'm a planner through and through. So it's only natural that planning out card kits would help me make more cards because it's more of a thoughtful process and it actually is a little bit more creative, at least for me, to do it this way as well. When I say plan out, I mean to plan out cards based on color, theme, and style. When I plan by color, I grab things that are similar colors and put them together. So this one was all about gray, and maybe this one was all about the pinks and the oranges. So when I plan out by theme, it's kind of fun to make cards kind of like this. This card would be all about birthdays, and that would be the theme because of the cakes and the sentiments. It's all about birthdays. This would be another example by planning out by color or theme. It's kind of a funkier one with like a jungle theme with the chameleon. It's just a little different than a typical birthday card or a typical hello card. With a sentiment like "you are my fave," it really could be used for different purposes. Now, when I plan based on style, this is kind of my main method. I have three main styles when I use the plan it out style. So my first style is the clean and simple. And that could be something like these cards that have a larger die cut sentiment on there with just two pieces of ephemera, some pattern paper. Or it could be something a little more bolder, like this one. It still is clean and simple, even though it does have a lot of foiling and glitter. It just kind of depends on your style. Here's an example of a clean and simple one. It's a simple thank you card, but it is really pretty with that pattern paper, and you're kind of letting the pattern paper do the work for you by having that be the star of the show. My next style would be collage. So it's as you might think, it's a collage. So you can see here I have just a cluster of different dies and stickers and just made a little collage there. I think this would technically be considered a collage as well, just because it's putting a couple things together and making a focal point. Here's another one using a little mole. Here's one that's just kind of like a fun and spunky kind of a design. There's really no theme. This could be a thank you, it could be a birthday, a hello, really anything. Here's a collage that is kind of like a anniversary love card. I still have the diagonal line with all of the pieces, but it is one big collage. Another way that you can use collages is using the tags that come in the card kits. So you can see that there are some large tags that come in card kits. There are a couple this month. We have this yellow one and the graph paper, and I think there's a pink and a blue one as well. But sometimes they put these really nice big ones on there, and that is a great focal point for a card. And you can either stamp a sentiment on or glimmer one onto the tag, or you could even add a little die cut sentiment onto it kind of sideways or however you really want. There's no rules with card making. So you can just make whatever you want. It's your own card kit. With collages, it can be kind of overwhelming to figure out, well, what goes together? Color and theme. Think about those two things. And I'll get into that later in the video when I show you what I use to make from this month's card kit, February for 2023. But just put things together that are the same color and the same theme. For example, we have this bush, right? Simple bush. It's one little die cut piece. Look at it closer and you can, that looked really crazy. Look at it closer. Look at it closer and you can see that there is pink and purple and blue. And there is a pattern paper. You can see that that coordinates really well. You can put that with dark green. Or you can make the bush pop. Now just watch what happens when I put the purple behind this and see what happens. Do you see the purple more? It just pops. So look at the colors on the die cut shapes and see what you can coordinate with. It doesn't have to be perfect. If this is your first card kit, you can play around with it, try it out, or you can go ahead and copy my cards. I don't mind. I'm doing this to inspire you, so if that inspires you to make cards, okay. And after you make a few cards and just kind of play around with things, or you can copy my cards like I said, you will be able to put things together the more you practice. But it does take practice and it does take time, so there's no really hack for that. Just make stuff. My last style is creating scenes. So here are two examples of some themed card kits this was like a beachy theme. This was a kind of birthday theme. So you can see that I took pieces and made a scene. This pattern paper was just blue watercolor striped kind of. It's not water, but on this card it is water because I put a boat on it. Same with this one. The sky is pink with ice cream falling out of it. Is that real? No, but it does look like a scene when it's put with these little buildings and the ice cream truck, and it all just kind of coordinates together. Another way to do that is adding plants like this one. You can see that the pattern paper has floating plants in the background, and with these on the bottom, it just kind of pulls it together. Here is a Christmas example of these little gingerbread men. There's their house, the two guys down here, the one guy on the candy, and look at the sky. It's pink with flying gingerbread men. But it works because the theme is gingerbread men and Christmas and cute. So it just kind of goes together. So anyway, enough of my face and chatter. Let's just jump into the process of it all and see what I make. It is going to be a long video, so like I said, hang on, and if you learned anything so far or learn anything later in the video, I would love to hear what is your main takeaway in the comments. Please let me know, and if you don't feel like commenting, just hit like on the video so I know that you like the video. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, you can just hit the subscribe button, and then you can see more videos like this from me in the future. I do post all of my card videos for all of the Spellbinders clubs. I receive the glimmer, the stitched, the large die, the small die, and both embossing folders. So I have a ton of inspiration, and I hope to inspire you, so please subscribe so I can keep doing that. Anyway, let's jump right in. So just to jump into it, if you're going to be doing this alongside with me, which would be kind of fun, I would get your card bases ready to go. There's 8 from the card kit. In the process of the move, I lost the package that had the 8 of them in there, so I just have plain card stock, plain white card stock, just like the cards that come in the kit. So I have those on hand. My paper is all set and I'm ready to go. Another thing that I would have handy is a paper trimmer just to cut down some of this paper, and maybe some glue or scissors if you're going to actually attach things. Right now I'm just going to be in the planning process, so I won't be gluing anything, but I might cut. Speaking of cut, I probably should grab my scissors before we get too crazy. So this card kit has so much in it, and sometimes it's kind of overwhelming to figure out where to start. So because the paper, the cardstock that comes in the kit is already cut down, that kind of saves me a step, because this used to be my first step, was to cut all of the paper that used to come full sheet 8.5 by 11 down to this 4 1/4 by 5.5 size, because this fits on a card base like this. Looks like I'm gonna have to trim up my paper here a little bit. Homemade card bases, you know. Anyway, but this would fit perfectly without a white edge. So that's kind of my first step, and then I kind of become inspired by the pattern paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take a look through this again. It's been a while since I looked through it, and just look at the same time at the other kit items. So if something kind of catches my eye of a match or a theme, I'm going to group them together by just making little piles here. So let's see. Also, sometimes I will pair papers together at this point. So if 2 papers look really good together, I will put them together. So this paper right now is kind of catching my eye because of all of the bold flowers. So I am just going to set that aside and then just kind of look at all of the die cuts or the tags and see what I could put with it. I kind of like the way that looks, and just kind of play around with different things as I go. The nice thing is card kits are all the same color palette, so the same dark blue here, that navy is the same on this hello. It's the same on the flowers and this. So it's kind of simpler to create things together, but sometimes you just have to think and take some time. I kind of like this frame. But if it just wasn't working, I'm just going to put it back in my pile and try something else, which is just the reality of my process. So maybe we can start somewhere easy with the bees, because that seems to be a lot of the theme of this one. This one's called Be Yourself with BEE. So in my mind, the bees with the beehive makes sense, but I don't want it to be too kind of kitschy. So maybe I will pair something with that. So we have the beehive, and I'm looking around to see something else. This tag is kind of jumping out at me, and I think, oh, it does fit perfectly on there. I like the way that that looks together. And then after moving that, I see this Be Happy. I kind of like that. And I'm wondering if I could pull in this dark frame or if it would be too dark. It's too dark for my taste. I like the sentiment on this one, but I also think that that would look pretty layered. Maybe not. I think I need to think about what is going behind, and I think this pink would look really pretty with this paper, so I'm going to go with that for my edge piece. And maybe I will pull in some pink paper. Yeah, this Be Happy just isn't doing it for me. Sometimes I can be puzzled with sentiments like this. Happiness is here. Sometimes they just don't really make sense. Like this one fine day, I'm not sure where I would tie that in with a card. Maybe I could put that with I really like this pink, but it's kind of, to me, kind of clashing with this background pink, so I'm going to just skip that one. I almost feel like this needs like a ribbon or something, or I think that this card would need some pattern paper to go underneath the tag and the beehive, just so it can stand out and pop a little more. So I'm going to take my card base that I have over here and just set this down as it is, and perhaps when I start cutting into some paper, I will be able to have a scrap or something that is the correct size. But before I set it aside, I am going to cut this one down so I have the scrap from this one to use on another card. My desk is going to get messy, so I'm just going to warn you now. So since my card is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, I'm going to cut this pattern paper down to 4 inches going this way, and I'm going to cut this side to 4 to 5 1/4. So when it's on my card, it will look something like that. So like I said, I'm not gluing anything at this moment. I like the foiling on there. That is so pretty. There's foiling on the hive right here, on the tag, and on these little hexagon pieces. So I'll just set that off to the side and we'll see what else we can do here. I try to be intentional about what the card is going to be used for. So if it's a card that just says honey or something like that, unless it has a bee on it, I don't know the occasion of what that would be for. So I try to not make cards that I wouldn't use myself. To me, it just doesn't make sense to spend time making a card that I wouldn't actually use. Typically when I am doing this, I am either listening to music or have a podcast on or watching a YouTube video, and I kind of just get in the zone and just start doing things. And I mean, I'm kind of quiet, but on the inside my brain is just going a lot. So it's a little different for me to have to think about speaking at the same time. So I am sorry for kind of the choppiness of this so far. But as I was thinking here, I think that this kind of goes well with the butterflies. Maybe it's almost too matchy. Filming this process video is a lot harder than I thought it would be. Just because I like to move things around and just kind of get in the zone, like I said. So I'm sorry if it's a little weird. Okay, I kind of take a turn here, and I see these two trucks, and I kind of want to pair them together. So I'm going to put them kind of like this, as if they were driving together or parked together. And then this tag that says beautiful things will happen, I want to turn into just a regular die cut shape and not a tag. So I'm just going to cut it, which is totally fine because you can modify things that you own. I know. Some people think that that would be crazy because why would you cut it? It was a nice tag. Well, I don't want to use it as a tag, so I chopped it off. Just want to chop just a little bit off the side there, just so it would be even. Please do not mind the adhesive that is stuck behind there. One day I will take a toothpick and a cotton ball or something with some rubbing alcohol on there and clean it up, but right now it is not my priority at all. Okay, this is kind of coming together the way I kind of envisioning it. So I will just look for a pattern paper that I think would go nice with the flowers, but that's not too busy. I'm actually going to tie in both. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of this blue paper and put this piece on the blue paper and then cut around. And then I will use this brown piece and maybe even die cut an oval. Oh, you know what I will use? This happens to be on my desk. This is the stained glass window die from Simon Hurley. This just released last month in February. So the stained glass window is pretty cool, but I'm going to use this piece that creates the outside of the window. I don't know why I say creates so weird. When I'm filming, I say creates, and it's just, ugh. Anyway, I'm going to die cut this piece and have that be kind of my background for my trucks, and still keep the green. So hang on, I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. But I will just mention, since I am going to die cut this, that this die is not part of the card kit. So I am going to use a little bit of craft tape to hold the die in place, just because this paper is directional and I don't want the words to be crooked. Every time I say the word crooked, I think of one of my students from a few years ago. We did a little play, and it was about a clockmaker, and he was like an older clockmaker, and one of the lines in the play was, and his legs were crooked, because they're describing the character. And my one student was reading as the narrator, and she said, and his legs were crooked, and it was just the cutest moment. Anyway, maybe it had to be there. I'm just going to run this through my platinum and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. There it is, the first thing I have die cut in my new craft space. Hooray. Okay, that does fill up the card quite a bit, so I'm not sure if I'm going to use this green now. This is kind of what I mean by this is a process. Things really just change as I go, and that's kind of the best part about a card kit, because you can kind of take something and just kind of switch it up and see what you think. If you don't like it, move it around. Anyway, this little fence just kind of caught my eye, so I'm gonna just pop out the pieces here. It's kind of like brown on brown, but such is life. I think with the yellow paper, the brown is just fine. Okay, now, like I said, I'm not sticking anything down. These die cut stickers, I mean, they have a stick to them. They're on a release paper here, but they're certainly not sticky. So I'm just placing it on there. When I go to finish off this card, I will stick it down with some liquid glue, but that is not for this moment. So now that I chose to get rid of that darker green, I'm not quite sure about this blue. But I think that if I don't put something with that, it is just too green, and it kind of clashes with the yellow. So I'm going to just put that back over there and try something else. Perhaps I will choose one of the chunkier sentiments to put on top. Oh, I forgot I have these. Okay, true and kind this day. I love that these come with clear sticker paper behind, because I like to lay it on where I have my space and see. So for example, if I wanted to use this Remember, I could see that that would fit perfectly. But to me, I don't know what I would use Remember for, so I'm not going to use that here. Perhaps if I was like scrapbooking or something and I had an old picture that I wanted to say Remember, that would make a little more sense, but Sweet Life would be kind of cute. Lots of options. So here is my number one secret, if you will, for card making with a card kit, is just try things. And I know that sounds kind of simple, but seriously, just try things. If you don't like the way it looks, then oh well, make stuff. Just keep going. Make a whole bunch of cards. Try to use up your card kits as much as possible. Just use your materials. So as I was looking here, I saw that there was a second truck, which was perfect because I like to work in odd numbers. So I added that third truck in there. And then I saw this little sandwich board sign, and I think that that makes sense to put with the flower trucks because it kind of looks like a market. And then I have the sentiment bunches of thanks, which again makes sense because bundles of flowers. So I decided to pair those two together, and now I think it needs some other pattern paper, kind of like this card. So I am just gonna wait until I cut into maybe this one or another darker paper just to tie in some of the dark blues. You can see just putting that next to it, it just makes sense to my eye that those would go together. So I'm just gonna put this card on pause. Another tip that I like to do when I am working with pattern paper is to put scraps like these together, because I will be looking for a piece like this for a card like this later. And if I have all my scraps together, it makes it really easy just to grab and pull from different pieces. So there you go. As long as you're happy with it, it's a win. And the more cards you make, the more you will kind of see how things go together and just see the process of it all coming together. I really like these two papers, and I'm not sure how I'm going to kind of tie them together yet, but I'm going to grab this purple cardstock and just see. And I don't know why it has like darker patches on it, but I know that it's not for me, so maybe that was intentional. I don't know. So I'm going to for sure cut this paper down to size. So I'll do that real quick. Again, I'm just cutting it down to 4 by 5 1/4. Now I have some darker scraps for my other cards, so I might pull those out later. But for now, I'm just gonna set those scraps off to the side and not get distracted. But that's kind of the best part about working with a card kit. There's all these little pieces, and you can, start with this card, jump over there, go to that one, go over here. You can finish a card and then say, oh wait, that butterfly would look perfect on that, and pull it out and grab that butterfly, put it on a new card, and just kind of try things, Okay, now with this card, I'm looking at all of my die cut shapes that are purple. So I have this that has the purple flowers. I have these butterflies, which I think are perfect on a card like this because it's kind of flowery, and to me butterflies and flowers go very well together. And let's see what else is purple. Okay, also the flowers that are on this card have that little black and white center, so I will also just pop those on. Again, we're not gluing anything now, we're just putting things that go together. And I think maybe even this bird would go nicely with this, especially with the sentiment. To me, the sentiments go together, but also the colors of everything goes really well together. So that's going there, and I'm even wondering about this green butterfly. Now, even though the paper here is purple, I think the green butterfly would go even better with this because it has a contrast. So I'm going to use the green butterflies instead of the other ones. Maybe I will use these butterflies on this paper. Now, I know that purple and yellow are complementary colors, so I'm going to take this purple paper that has the yellow flowers on it and pair it with this paper. So I'm just going to quickly use a circle die and cut out a circle from this paper. Now I'm going to cut it out so it's kind of in the middle of the paper, so if I wanted to use this yellow paper as a background, I can. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. So I just have that circle popped out, and now if I wanted to use this as a background piece like this, I could certainly just cut the edge and have that be in the background of a paper, and no one would even know that there is a circle cut out of the back of that. Or I could cut it or use it in another circle that's a little larger and make like a hoop and have that go around, or I could cut it out and it could be a reveal window, something like that. So many possibilities. Okay, I've never done a card like this before, but I am going to just try it for the sake of trying things, which is what I always tell people to do. So here I am taking my own advice and just trying. I know I said I wasn't going to glue in this video, but I didn't know I was doing this process. So I'm going to put some glue on the top here going across, and then some going down to hold my paper. And this is quite sticky, so I better put it in the right spot in the first place. I'm going to line it up in the corner like that. And on the top, and then line it up on the side. Oh good, it's working. Hooray. Okay, so now I have that shape going, and where did I put my scissors? Story of life. Okay, then I'm gonna flip it over and trim off the excess brown paper. How fun is it to play around with shapes and use old dies? I know several people are still pretty disgruntled about the lack of dies in a card kit, but I feel like if you are a crafter, you probably have dies, and there are other dies you can pick up with the monthly kits, so it's not too bad. It's okay. Oh, I love how fun that shape is. Okay, so plus it gives me a little bit of a sentiment moment with all those words. Okay, so that's gonna go right about there. I'm not gonna glue that on yet. And then we have the tag, which I will pull materials that are not from the card kit to add a little ribbon to that, because I think if there's a tag, it needs a ribbon. It's just kind of how I've been looking at things recently. Right about there. And I think this needs a little yellow behind the tag to kind of pull in some kind of a solid landing place for the tag to go, because it's kind of getting lost in the background of this white paper. So again, I used my circle die and cut directly in the center, because watch this. We're going to make a little bit of a background hole. I'm going to take this perfectly good piece of paper off to the side, and now this is going to be my background piece. Now, some people will fill that in with scrap paper or cardstock. I really don't do that. Sorry. But I don't really mind having different layers and having a little dimension to the card, and plus that circle's going right about there anyway, so I don't really think it matters for this card. I'm just not a particular person, so that's just the way it is. Okay, so my hive will go right about there, and my little bee. And he looks a little lonely, so I'm going to add another bee. Maybe the other one that's flying going the other direction. That looks great. And now I have a lot of sentiments on the paper, but I think it needs another sentiment just to kind of tie it all together. So on the background paper we have kind of sweet things, happy, cutie, stay beautiful, hello. So I really think any sentiment could go with this. I think I will use something that's kind of like birthday-ish. This one that says sweet little honey is really catching my eye. To me, that would be so cute to use for a baby card. We might have to make a baby card. And looking at these bees, I am going to pull out this medium-sized bee, and I plan on having that bee go kind of right about here, And I think it's important to have different size of things, like if you can, like the bees, there's the small ones and the little and the medium one, just because it kind of creates the illusion of this one being closer, those ones being farther away, just to give a little dimension to the card without really being too particular. I'm going to tie in some of the yellow and add that to the top corner. I'm still looking for a sentiment that is catching my eye. I should probably start looking a little harder. There's so many to choose from that it's hard. It's hard to pick which one. But the thing is, it's just not really about picking the perfect sentiment. It's about picking the one that makes you excited and happy when you make it on a card. So I think I will just go ahead and pick, oh, what is this joy one? That's really cute. I don't have a lot of green on my card as it is. Oh, and this little blue flower belongs on the other one. Okay, and now this is kind of, again, my process as I'm going here. As I'm looking for a sentiment for this card, this flower kind of caught my eye, and I remember that this flower is the same as the flower on this card. So I'm just going to stick it there, and it might make it on my final card. We will see. Okay, so I am going to find a sentiment to go right about here on the card just to kind of finish it off, and then I will move on to the next process. But as I'm going, just see more things to add to this one. So I'm looking for a sentiment, and I see these little hearts that are shaped in hexagons, and it reminds me of the beehive, so I'm just going to stick those on my card here and maybe add the heart in there. Why not? Just one of them though. So I'm going to use the puffy stickers on this one, and I'm going to use the sentiment happy. And instead of sticking it on right now, I'm just going to use my scissors here and just cut it, and that will go right about there. Okay, so I made 3 cards using this method of card making, which is just kind of like create as you go. And now I'm going to transition into the other way that I use a card kit. I'm just going to put those off to the side. If you want to see me assemble those, you're going to have to come back for my assembly videos that will come on the channel maybe in a couple days. I'm not sure. Sometime in March, we'll just say. So now I'm going to show you my second way of working with card supplies. And this one is a little bit of a messier moment, so prepare yourself if you are not a messy person. Anyway, so I have my trays, and that's kind of the best part about my trays is I need room for this method. So what I do is I take my pattern paper and I lay it out. And maybe put some together that might look good together, and just kind of go from there. And the more space you have, the better for this, but I'm low on space. So what I like to do is use my trays, and I have these clear containers. I don't know, I think they're technically drawer organizers, so we're gonna call them drawer organizers. And as I go making cards, if I feel like it has what it needs on it, I'm just going to kind of layer them up in this little tray, and this just gives me more desk room. And this one wasn't cut, so I'm just gonna layer it to the side. And if I don't remember what I'm doing with that card, I'll have to watch back my footage here and try to figure it out. Okay, those are 3 cards finished planning. And I'll just set them off to the side so they're all good to go. Now I have even more room on my desk. I feel like once they switch the card kits up, the pattern papers are a little more bold, which is kind of fun. And they're a little more, like they can kind of stand on their own a little bit more than what they used to. So that was kind of fun to see. Anyway, I lay out all my papers, and I'm unfortunately not able to get all of them on camera. So let's just try to make it work. This is what I meant by, I'm not sure if I can get this on film. When I'm placing these on, it is not a firm commitment of, yes, this die cut is going on this card for sure. All it is saying those flowers match that. I think that would look good together. And that's really it. It doesn't have to be anything too final. And if I don't like the way something looks later, I can certainly take it off and move it around, try something else, and just see what works and what does not. And for pieces like these bees, I have a large, a medium, and a medium. I'm going to use those on different cards, so those are going to separate. When there used to be more paper in the card kits, I used to make sister cards a lot, which basically just means cards that look similar. So if I had 2 die cut pieces, I would put 2 of the die cuts together, 2 of the pattern papers, and it would just kind of coordinate together. But things are a little different now, so I don't do that as much. But it's possible to make sister cards. It's just going to be a little different. Now I'm going to tie in the bees with this flower tree paper because of the lid on this honey pot, to me, matches the trees that are on this paper. So those two are going to go together. And I'll grab the tree in just a minute once I am finished with looking at the items on this tray. Kind of like that with that. Maybe we'll put them both on there. I don't know. And we'll put the honey pots there. Not sure about where those are going yet. Notebook paper is always kind of fun. I am a teacher, so I do need thank you cards often. And having cards that are kind of like teacher related is kind of fun. Now this fox with the attitude, how fun is that? I think I'm going to pair him with this paper, or maybe, ooh, this paper looks good. The orange and the brown and the green. I guess it's more of a tan than brown, but it just kind of looks woodsy to me. And I like that look. Those butterflies are going to go there. Where did I see this little honeycomb thing? Or clover. This is totally a clover. What am I thinking? That can go there. I don't know what this is. A bag of flowers? I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments. I think it's just kind of cute and yellow. So it's going to go with the honey stuff. And even though that's not the exact flower, it's yellow and it matches, so it's going together. And that's going to go with this one since I already have one over there. Now my tray's almost empty. So I'm going to put my bees. I don't know, maybe we'll throw another bee over there. We'll put one there, so there's 3, 3, 3, and then there's this odd man out. I don't know what to do with this one, so I'm just going to put it there for now. So then on this tray, all I have left are these 2 pieces, and I'll just set them off onto my next tray. Maybe I'll put them with the cake and stuff. Sure. Okay, now let's put the bushes where I wanted them to go. Oh, I wanted to make a scene with the rainbows and the sky. What paper would look good with that? Let's see. I'm almost thinking this one. Oh, that's a little too busy for my brain. Okay, we're going with the purple paper. We're gonna have a purple sky, pink hot air balloons. Okay. Now this tree, I don't know. What am I gonna do with this tree? Maybe that would go with my fox. Okay. This Because I Love You sentiment, maybe that will go there. Sweet Like Honey, I feel like that sentiment is going to go on that card with all the honeybees, and maybe on this card because I have that this piece that I'm going to use up. Again, kind of sticky, not super sticky. It's just going to go on there for now. This bee, there's a lot of bees, you guys. I'll put it there, then we'll have an even 5. Happy Sweet. I'm going to just pop out this little centerpiece because I don't think it's helping inspire me to make something here. Beautiful with the U in there. Let's put that with the bees. And the Love You Honey. And the How Sweet It Is. We'll just put all the dark sentiments together. And let's see. Maybe even this Be Happy will go with, yeah, we'll go with that too. There's no rule to how many sentiments you can put on your cards. Same with this piece. We're just going to pop it out. It's not helping. Because I Love You, we'll put that with the bees. This bundle of flowers we'll put with the other bundle of flowers. This How Sweet It Is with the clipboard I'll put with the notebook paper. This blue flower kind of matches that, so I'm putting it there. Fantastic, we'll put with the Celebrate. Now for these hexagons. They are really intriguing me. I am going to just take them off of this paper and put them on this card. Like that. And I'm probably going to pull a bee or two from here to use with these. Maybe just one. I think that'll be nice. Okay. Let's see, what other chipboard pieces do we have? I really do like to use a lot of the chipboards since they're so thick and sturdy. They're just kind of nice to have. What is sweet? Sweet Like Honey, Double Sweet, I don't know about that. Maybe I'll put it with this since it's that light yellow. Looks kind of pretty with the black and white. Happy, that'll go with that paper since it's dark, light green. The Good Life. Okay, now I'm not going to probably put 2 bundles on this card, but I'm going to put both of them on there because I might pop it into the center of the card, or I might layer them up so they're ready to go. This Because I Love You with the flowers, I feel like should go with this one. Sure. If the fox was smiling, that would go very nicely with that one, but I think I'm going to just keep that one on the tray for now. And I have a whole bunch of these sentiments, so I'm not sure where I'm going to put them yet, but we will see. I think I'm going to put this one that says Never Stop Being You with all the check mark things on this card, since I think this one will be my thank you card. So maybe I can find a thank you sticker. This is just kind of how my brain works. So for those of you who asked for the process, here's the process. Oh, and I peeled that off kind of weird, so it has a couple bumps, so I'm just going to bend it the other way. Thankful for you. Now, the puffy stickers are a little bit stickier. So because I like to move things around, I am just going to take some of the stick off. Sometimes I will just pop it on my sleeve of my shirt. And yes, it gathers a little fuzz. Is it the end of the world? No. Thankful for you. Maybe I'll put that with the balloons now that I don't know, this purple lavender blue is so pretty. I'm just not quite sure where I want it yet. Ha ha ha. I think it'll go there. Now that same blue color, like this, I like the way that that looks together. It just is eye-catching. I think with the right background cardstock and some sequins, that would come to life, even though it looks a little bit boring right now. Let's see, Keep On Being You. I'm going to also pair with this one. This is going to be definitely a collage card since there's all these little pieces. Same with these ones as well. But that's okay. Let's see, Beautiful Things Will Bloom. I do want to add that to the one that has all the flowers on it, this one. So I'm just going to stick it on there for now. Sometimes I like to layer up some of these, but I think it covers up the sentiment sometimes, and I don't really care for that. Like that, see, it covers up Beautiful Things, which I guess you could glue off to the side if you wanted, but I don't understand why that wouldn't just be longer, but okay. I'm going to stick that on there for now. I don't know if it's going to actually land there, but I could layer some of the short ones with this, kind of like that, and then put on a sentiment on the bottom like this. Happy. Okay, it's not going to be straight, but whatever. You kind of get the idea. This is something that I would use at the end when I have chopped into all this pattern paper and planned out a whole bunch of cards here. And I will have pieces like this left over at the end that are awesome, but I don't really have a use for them. So I might pair them together and use some of the paper scraps and just be inspired by the scraps of paper and make something else. So I'm just going to set those aside for now and come back to them later. The other thing I wanted to add to this one was this purple little hearts, because there's some purple in the flowers. But otherwise, let's see. This tray, lovely. Maybe, ooh, that's pretty. I'm gonna stick one of the lovelies there. Seize the Day. Where could that go? Maybe this one? Okay, so with my trays, this is what I have left on my trays after planning-ish up my cards. So I typically will just transfer them to one tray now at this point, just so I have less stuff on my desk. And now this is kind of the meat and potatoes moment of the card making process. So I've planned out everything, and now I get to decide where things go on the cards. So that is going to have to be in a separate video, because this is already over an hour long, and I mean, I haven't edited out all of my ums and ahs, but I'm sure this will be a long video even with some editing. So come on back for part 2 of my how to use a card kit videos, and we will start kind of assembling things and see where things go. Come on back for part 2, and if you've watched all the way to the end of this part 1, you're amazing, and you might as well subscribe since you've watched all the way through the end, and come on back for part 2. Thank you so much. We'll see you there. Bye.